Welcome back to another episode of Pro Sex Studio, and today we're checking into The Hotel Artemis, the 2018 cyberpunk crime thriller, starring Jodie Foster, Dave Bautista, Sofia Boutella, Sterling K. Brown, and others. What is the attitude about sexuality in this film? What are the filmmakers telling us about sex? Is the attitude positive or negative? If you've been watching the channel, you know that I am revealing through this channel that the attitude about sexuality that's almost always presented in film and television is negative. We are bombarded constantly with messages about sexuality telling us that it's evil, stupid, unprofessional, irresponsible, and something that good people don't do. Why is that? Well, let's see what Hotel Artemis has to say. Let's take this character by character, but really first let's start with the premise. The Hotel Artemis is a black market hospital, an underworld clinic. Jodie Foster plays the nurse. Jodie Foster, of course, long and magnificent career at this point. She tends to criminals, or at least the criminals who have a subscription to the Hotel Artemis, who are paying their dues. Dave Bautista is Everest, her orderly. Dave Bautista, of course, very entertaining actor, best known as Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. So, the Hotel Artemis is in Los Angeles. There is a riot going on in Los Angeles at this time, and this leads to all sorts of intersecting storylines. There are a number of people in the Hotel Artemis. One of them is Acapulco. When you're in the Hotel Artemis, you get a code name that is the same as the name of the room you're staying in. It's a hotel. See, you have the Acapulco suite, and so this is Acapulco, played by Charlie Day. He's an illegal arms dealer, and he's a patient at the Hotel Artemis because he got lacerations in his face with nail polish embedded in them. It seems that some kind of sexual misadventure, or perhaps assault, perpetrated by Mr. Acapulco has landed him in the hospital. He's a very unpleasant person. The kind of character whose only purpose is to die in a way commensurate with how annoying and awful he is. He's blazingly rude to everyone he meets. Just absolutely rude and repulsive with everyone. This would not be a strategy for getting along selling Chevrolets. It seems positively suicidal when your customers are all professional criminals and casual killers. Nevertheless, here he is. And he's blazingly rude to Sofia Boutella's character, Nice. Isn't that cute? Sofia Boutella, of course, French, speaks with a French accent, and is named after a city in France in this film, because she's staying in the Nice suite. Anyway, Acapulco says to her, "You're a street taco, but I'm a 20-ounce sirloin." But he also talks to her like there might be a chance they could become sexually involved. I even like a little street meat myself from time to time. Which of course is ludicrous. We, the audience, are supposed to laugh at this. This is It's Villains Who Sex. That is the negative meme we're seeing here. I've identified 12 negative memes that are repeated endlessly in movies and television about sexuality, and this is one of them. Bad people display their sexuality. Bad people have sex lives. Bad people pursue sex. How do we know he's a terrible person? Well, number one, he's a terrible person. Number two, he, essentially makes a pass at Nice while also being hideously rude. In fact, the very last thing he says to her near the climax of the film is, "Well, now I've got to shoot you. And I don't want to shoot you. We could have worked something out. We had some kind of fucking chemistry, but now I got to fucking shoot you." This is the negative meme called dangerous sex, that sex is often presented as being dangerous, weird, off-putting, bad. He's combining the threat of lethal force violence with his attraction to her. Dangerous sex. This meme is also often expressed with the idea that danger is sexy and that sex is dangerous. You can go either way. Let's talk about Morgan Daniels, played by Jenny Slate, who can contact me through this channel if she's interested in socializing. Morgan Daniels is a police officer, but not a patrol officer. Oh no, the cops are the enemy in this film. The cops are the people who are trying to control the riot. And you don't want to control riots because riots are always good. Mass chaos is something to be encouraged. In any case, she's not a patrol officer. She is a community liaison, but she's been injured in the riot, that very riot that we're sympathizing with. They stomped on her like they were making Merlot. And she comes to the door of the Hotel Artemis begging for help. It turns out that Officer Daniels knew the nurse's son, Bo, when they were children. And a major plot line in this movie is that Bo died as a young man. He died of a drug overdose. And the nurse has never recovered from her grief. But Officer Daniels knew Bo as children, and of course knew Bo's mother, the nurse, and so the nurse allows her in. It's against the rules, of course, to let cops in, and it's against the rules to let in anyone who doesn't have a subscription, but she does it because she, Officer Daniels, and the nurse's son, Bo, were friends as children. Now, this is very important. Notice that Morgan was not Bo's first love. She wasn't Bo's girlfriend when they were 17, 18, 20 years old. She wasn't Bo's wife. She was Bo's very close friend when they were children, 7 or 8 years old, before their sex lives began. So Officer Daniels has no sexuality, no reference to any sexuality, not even to say, oh yes, 15, 20 years ago I was Bo's lover, I was Bo's wife. No, nothing, zero, none. Why? Serious people don't sex. We don't want our heroes to have sexuality. Officer Daniels is a martyred angel in need of succor. Therefore, she doesn't have sexuality. And by the way, by extension, the long dead Bo, for whom the nurse is mourning, doesn't have sexuality either. There's absolutely no mention of Bo's sex life. That's why Officer Daniels was a friend of Bo's when they were children, not Bo's girlfriend when they were adults. Officer Daniels has no sexuality at all. At one point, the nurse asks her if she has children, and she answers that she has 2, but Officer Daniels makes no mention of a husband or boyfriend or father at all. So she doesn't even have enough sexuality in her character to say, I have 2 children and a husband at home. No, she just says 2 children, because being a parent is noble, having sex is bad. Serious people don't sex. That's one of the negative memes. The next character we're going to discuss is Waikiki, played by Sterling K. Brown, staying in the Waikiki suite. He is a professional thief who is in the Hotel Artemis tonight because his brother was wounded while they were perpetrating a failed bank robbery. And Waikiki encounters Nice here in the hotel, Sophia Boutella's character, who we'll discuss more later. It's clearly implied that Waikiki and Nice used to have a romantic relationship. It's implied through the way they speak to each other, their tone, their body language. The movie never gives us any actual evidence beyond these ephemera that they ever had sex. Nothing, zero, zip. They don't say, we were exes, we used to be lovers, you were my fiance. That never happens. No one uses any word like that, lover, wife, fiance, bang buddy, nothing, to describe their relationship. They don't use those words, nobody else does either. We don't see them have sex during the course of the movie. We don't see a flashback of them embracing, kissing, making love. None of that. Neither of them ever makes any reference to sex. Neither of them says, remember that time we spent your birthday naked the whole time? No, nothing. Zero. They push that as far off the stage as possible. And this is a couple of negative memes. Number 1, serious people don't sex. Number 2, sexy killers. Both of these people are very good looking. You know, Sterling K. Brown has got broad shoulders and a trim waist and straight white teeth and big brown eyes and a deep voice. He's a very handsome man. Sophia Boutella needs no further explication. Very good looking people, but have no sex life. Or just the tiny flicker of one in the past, and it's implied, of course, that that was troublesome for them and painful. Also, serious people don't sex. The people we're supposed to support, we're supposed to be behind them. We're supposed to hope that Waikiki and Nice both, survive the events of the film. Serious people don't sex. Protagonists don't sex. People with responsibilities don't sex. The only exception here, the only moment where there's an implied, where we see a sexual relationship between Waikiki and Nice, is that they kiss one time. When does this happen? After Waikiki reveals to Nice that he and his brother stole a pen, which is actually a portable vault. And it holds $18 million in Yakutia canaries, yellow Siberian diamonds. But they have stolen this, Nice informs them, from the Wolf King, the ruthless criminal overlord who rules Los Angeles by night, and the Wolf King does not forgive. They must flee. Waikiki and his brother Lev must get out, in spite of the fact that Lev is badly injured. Nice tells him all this. Then she kisses him and walks out of the room. When does she kiss him? You're doomed, you're screwed, you're about to die. One kiss, I'm leaving. This is a dark moment for Waikiki. This is a bad turn of events. That's when he gets a kiss. Danger is sex. Their one kiss is a harbinger of doom. Sorry about you, you're gonna die. Where does Nice go when she leaves the room? Well, the reason Nice is in the Hotel Artemis is that she has arranged all of this. She actually shot herself and then came to the Hotel Artemis to have that relatively minor wound treated so that she could be in the hotel when the Wolf King arrives. Nice has arranged for the Wolf King to be injured, and he is going to come to the Hotel Artemis because the Wolf King is the owner of the Hotel Artemis. And while he is there, Nice will kill him. Nice has accepted a contract from the Detroit client. Nice will use her cybernetic ocular implant to record a close-up death of the Wolf King at the request and instructions of the client. And she says to Waikiki the reason she has to do this at such close range is so that the client can play it back later while the client masturbates. Dangerous sex. Sex is presented as off-putting, weird, gross. And this is off-putting and weird and gross. There's no positive sex in the movie. There's no counter-example. Why would the Detroit client even tell her that? Why not just say, I want close-up video so I can be sure the Wolf King is dead and I can know the job is done? You know, why not keep that masturbation thing to himself? So that we can go, gross, because we need to gross out the audience with any reference to sexuality, because this is negative. Oh, and how does Nice arrange for the Wolf King to be injured? Well, in the Wolf King's own words, a pretty girl, a purse full of Semtex, and an old man's vanity. This is the wanting disaster, the most common of the negative memes. Wanting sex, desiring sex, pursuing sex, having sex leads to a bad result. The Wolf King was sexually attracted to a woman, and that is dumb, that's foolish, that's going to lead to his death. Speaking of all that, how does the Wolf King die? He is lying in his hospital bed alone. Nice slips into the room. The room is lit with a low red light. Nice, Sofia Boutella, scorchingly gorgeous in a beautiful dress, slips into the room. The Wolf King is played by Jeff Goldblum, who, older man, clearly, maybe about 70, but still tall, trim build, strong features. He looks like an Old Testament patriarch, and he's an emperor, is what he is. He, rules Los Angeles with a ruthless fist. So he's powerful. And this beautiful young woman slips into his bedroom, jumps up onto the bed, straddles him, leans down into his face, whispers a few words to him, and then delivers an intense and convulsive physical experience, which is his death, when she cuts his throat with a shard of coffee cup. But that's presented as being very, very sexy, this killing. Danger is sex. Incidentally, Nice had to cut the power to the building to create the confusion that allowed her the opportunity to end the Wolf King, and this also puts an end to Waikiki's brother, Lev, who was on life support. So, the last time Waikiki and Nice saw each other, a few minutes ago, they kissed. And now, Waikiki, realizing what Nice has done, goes to kill her. He has a gun in his hand and he's ready to kill her. Kiss to kill. The wanting disaster. Something bad follows right after your sexual encounter. But Waikiki cannot bring himself to kill this woman. He loves her, and she loves him. And in the end, Waikiki gets out with his diamonds. He's also no longer burdened by his brother, who was a burden to him, because his brother was short-tempered and foolish. Nice makes that happen by fighting a heroic rearguard. Nice, of course, being a sexy, sexy killer. She holds off 8 or 10 of the Wolf King's goons. Everest winds up back running the hotel, and the nurse finally moves on with her life. So what do we have here? Almost no sexuality at all. We see one kiss. That's it. The rest is violence, doom, danger, the unethical use of power, bloodshed. The Hotel Artemis is a very sex-negative place to be. I hope you're finding this interesting. Please, if you have done that, if you found this interesting, and obviously you did, because here we are at the end of the video and you're still with me, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell thing. I do this every week. Also, I have a long list of other videos talking about other artworks. You might want to look into those. Thank you for your time. I'm Brian Downs.